Hey everybody, life on the trail here. Hey, as you can see, I'm up here in the Eatcarbs wilderness. See the mountains, you'll be seeing some waterfalls, a lot of, hopefully some mountain goats. So all of you mountain lovers out there, here you go. The top of the mountains there running about 9,000 feet. You're here on Hurricane Creek in the Eatcarbs wilderness. So I was tagged about a week ago by Yankee Outdoors, and I'm sure most of my viewers are probably viewers of Yankees too. Good guy, great guy, helps the small channels a lot. But I was tagged on what are my 5 biggest adventures. Well, looking back, I've been on a lot. Hiking in the Columbia River Gorge into Oneida Falls. Hiking Misery Ridge at Smith Rocks. Opal Creek and Jawbone Flats over out of Salem, Oregon. When I was a kid, we'd go into, spent quite a few summers in Montana fly fishing with my dad, my mom, and my sister. Probably one of those big adventures was probably up there on the Gallatin River when we were fly fishing, and you constantly had to watch out for the buffalo. They'd walk right by you grazing, you know. They're big animals. You fly fishing away up there on the Gallatin River in Yellowstone, and here they come. One time we got chased into the river by a herd of elk. I don't know what they were running from, but they were coming right for us, so we headed into the river, got a little wet. So that'd probably be number 5. Number 4, many people don't know I was in the Army and served over in South Korea in 1996. And one of the things that I got to do there was go up to the DMZ and tour that, and go into the tunnels that the North Koreans had dug. The tunnels were wide enough for a tank to go through, and they were well far south of the DMZ border there into South Korea. So U.S. had dug intercept tunnels, and we went down there and visited. It was an eerie feeling, because down you walk and walk and walk, and down in the bottom there's a wall, and there's South Korean guards there with their guns drawn into the darkness waiting for something to come out. So yeah, it was interesting. But while I was in South Korea that year, I got to go up to a shrine, and it was kind of a tourist place, but the monk was there and banging the gong, or whatever you call it. I know it's not a gong, but you know what I'm talking about. And we rappelled there on the rocks, and it wasn't a big rappel. I've done a lot bigger when I was in high school, but I had to see if anybody's behind me. The fun part about it was the South Koreans were so excited to see us doing it there, and they were wanting autographs and stuff. So yeah, I gotta spend a year in South Korea. That was a lot of fun. So that was number 4. Number 3, about a year ago, I had another day like the weekend like this, where the girlfriend was down in California, and I didn't have my kids with me, so I took a trip to Astoria, stayed over at Fort Stevens Park, and did a hike from Fort Clatsop, which is where Lewis and Clark were for the winter, to almost to the ocean. But I did a loop back. It was a 9-mile trip. But it's called the Fort to Sea Trail. So I did that. On that trip, I visited Fort Clatsop, Fort Stevens, Fort Columbia across the river in Washington from Astoria. Beautiful place. Nobody ever goes there. They always go to Fort Stevens. Fort Stevens pretty much tore down. It's got the, you know, the battle russell there and stuff, where the big guns were protecting the Columbia River, and it was actually shelled by a Japanese submarine during World War II, but they never fired back. But Fort Columbia still has the gun. It still has the big artillery gun there, and all the housing's still there. And it's a beautiful place. If you ever get a chance, go check it out. Then I went up hiked into the oldest lighthouse on the Pacific coast in the U.S. It was built during the Civil War, and there was actually an artillery gun there. They never shot at anything. They never fired on anything, but it was put there to protect. They thought that the Confederates were going to come in and try to seize the Columbia River as a shipping port, but they never did. But it was built, yeah, it was built during the Civil War, and I've got pictures on my YouTube there, my channel. But yeah, it was really interesting. Where that lighthouse is, it's the South Lighthouse at Cape Disappointment. Cape Disappointment is really interesting place. You can see the whole Columbia River and the bar and all the ships waiting to come across the bar there. It's one of the most dangerous shipping areas in the world, with all the shipwrecks and stuff. So that was number 3. Number 2, my son and I did a 3-day backpacking trip into the Elkhorn Mountains. And the Elkhorn Mountains are directly south of here. Near Baker City. And we backpacked into the Crawfish Basin and stayed there for 3 nights. The Crawfish Lake there is beautiful. It's 7,000 feet. Thunderstorm came in and rocked the place all night long. I mean, it was pouring and booming, and you know, had a good time up there for 3 days. The frogs, I couldn't sleep because they were so stinking loud. I kept opening the tent and throwing rocks out there to get them to quiet down. I mean, they just echoed in there. In that, it was a glacial moraines where it was, so you're surrounded all the way around by 8,000-9,000 foot peaks. Beautiful place. So that was number 2. 3, 2. Number 1. Gosh, you know, a lot of people have been there, and Silver Falls State Park, it's not a place that, I mean, it's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but it's more of a spiritual thing for me. we hiked the Trail of 10 Falls, waterfalls. It's about 8 miles, beautiful place. If you ever get a chance, go, but it's one of those places that there's pictures everywhere of, but that's not why it was special to me. I've gone through some really tough times. And it was a place about 16, 17 years ago. I desperately wanted to get out and hike. But because of circumstances with the person I was with, wasn't allowed to. Well, just, we had little kids, and we're just two different people. As you can see, I'm overweight. I still get out here. I've done this all my life, but for 10, 12 years, it was all put to a halt. But I desperately wanted to go, and I remember driving around the parking lot. We drove all the way up there and drove around the parking lot, and I was like, we drove all this way, let's go see it. I want to go out and see the waterfalls. Oh, it's too far. We got kids. It's too far. I don't know if you've ever been in those situations, but it's almost a spirit breaker, So when one weekend last year, my girlfriend and her daughter were like, you want to go to Silver Falls? I was like, hell yeah, I want to go to Silver Falls. I've been wanting to go there and hike that damn trail for 12, 14 years, whenever it was, So we went, and it was like those 12 or 14 years of burden once we hit that trail and saw the first waterfall. And there you can walk behind the waterfalls. I've got pictures of that on my channel also. You can go search it. But it was like a huge burden. Those long lost years were like a huge burden that were taken off of me. So yeah, that was a turning point in my life. And I talk to people, and people that have anxiety and stress and have been suicidal or drugs and alcohol problems in their lives. But when they get out on the trail, they've all got a certain story. Mine's Silver Falls, Another might be Mailbox Point up in Washington, or the Enchantments, or it might be a simple local park hike, park trail, who knows. But this trail, that's why I call the channel Life on the Trail. this trail, it takes the focus off of all the crap that's going on in life, and just pushes it away, you know, waterfalls and animals, and you know. So yeah, that was that's my, I think I got 5 there. I think so. I know I've been rambling, but thanks, Yankee, and I'll when I get home to from this trip, this is probably going to be one of the 5. It's beautiful up here, but when I get home from the trip, I'll find 5 other channels to tag to do the 5 deals. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. We'll catch you later.